So as you read through the MLK files that, nobody wants to talk about, you really find out that J. Edgar Hoover was right all along. And if you doubt that, just look at what became the head of the FBI after the Kennedys. And, just it went downhill. All this shit happened that I'm going to get into. So a lot of it people know, but don't really, put the dots together. So anyway, the MLK files clearly show that J. Edgar Hoover had sufficient reason to, he struggled actually because he didn't want to do it, but at the same time, he felt that what was happening, because King did have people in his organization with ties to communists. And some of the things that he was saying in his speeches, like to Workers United, International Workers United, which is totally like part of the Communist Party, but whatever, that these were the things. And so, but it shows in there that it wasn't like some blatant, the way it's been made, that he's some racist. No, he wasn't. What he was concerned about big time was the mass movement that King had going. And he felt that the Communist Party was influencing and causing this racial division, which, is there any doubt today that that's happened? Absolutely not. So he really deserves, the credit he hasn't gotten, because he's been ripped all over the coals by the communists, the socialists, the Democrats, the progressives. Because, see, when they finally did their investigation into the FBI, it was in 1977, well after, because MLK was shot in 63, and, it was all within the 5-year period, MLK, or JFK, MLK, and RFK. But the church committee that they did in 1977, that came after 12 activists, okay? Wait till you hear this. It was 12 of them that broke in to the FBI to get documents that then they exposed. And they act like these were just, first of all, they were, much of it was influenced by, they were all anti-war. Okay, so who was causing all the problems in the 70s? A bunch of communists running around, getting everybody to hate the soldiers coming home. But anyway, Catholic Peace Fellowship, Catholic anti-war organizations helped influence this. But that shouldn't be a surprise. The Catholic Church itself, in my opinion, is a damn political organization, okay? And it never seems to be on the right side. It was negotiating with Hitler. But that's for another day. I've already done videos about that. None of these people, all these anti-war, and they were all progressives, all of them that broke into the FBI. They came out in 2014. And what was given to them? Praise, and oh, you did this. And the FBI tried to get some of them. They couldn't. They were that good. They were that good. So that tells me it was more, it was more than just, because the way they make it seem is that it was a university professor, of course. Does that surprise anybody? That's one of them. And a cab driver who picked the lock. And then, you can look it up. I'm not going to go into all their names. They broke in 1971. A couple of their names was John and Bonnie Raines. I think that's who it was. Let me check. Bob Williamson, he masterminded and recruited for this. John Raines, Bonnie's husband, a professor at Temple University. Keith Forsyth, a cab driver. Bonnie Raines, a daycare director. Okay, but with the one thing all of them have in common, they were progressive anti-war, basically communist. The Progressive Party is tied to communism. Just look at its history. Anyway, so they broke in during the boxing match between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. Okay, and the FBI did try to go after it, but they had done they had no fingerprints, nothing. Talk about, I'm sorry, I have a hard time believing you just were so magnificent in being able to not be detected that well that you were just everyday citizens. You were a bunch of fucking communists. And they were never held accountable because by the time they came out in 2014, I hope some of them see this video if any of them are still alive. You're dirtbags. Yes, you are. Now, they, of course, were put on a pedestal as heroes because, well, they were communists. So, of course, the Democrats put them on a hero status. But so everything you've heard about what the church committee uncovered, well, it was very biased. And it was deliberately wanting to find reasons to act like that Edgar Hoover was a racist. No, he had good reasons. He had good reasons. Like, this is the thing. And that what the FBI and intelligence, as I said, became after Kennedy, not right after Kennedy, but, following his administration. I mean, he both MLK and JFK helped wanting to destroy the reputations of the intelligence agencies. Communists would, okay? They just would. That's just a given. That's the reason why it was the perfect storm going on at the same damn time, okay? And immediately when JFK gets into office, he goes after the CIA, okay? And then it was only after all that the CIA started, really coming after the American people. Otherwise, the CIA or the FBI, they didn't do anything with you unless you were some high-profile person. And you had all these different, people in your organization that were tied to communism, and you're getting this protest going. Can you see why the FBI would be concerned about that? And they wrote Edgar Hoover off like that he was just a crazy, fearful of communism. Yeah, I am too. It goes against everything our country was about. I don't give a shit. I know the Communist Party, has their little hideout, or they don't even hide. But there are so many, you just want to cause problems because you have communist countries you could go live in. Why do you want to destroy this country? Because you're all about destruction. That's what that fucking party is about. But these people were never held accountable, and because of what they made copies of and gave it to the Democrats, and the church committee was mainly Democrats, they ended up being able to soil the reputation of the FBI. And Edgar Hoover even said that this anti-Catholic war movement, they were a problem too. Yeah, see, this was why people had issue with having a Catholic president, because people knew it wasn't about it. Because of course the communists are going to say, "Oh, you're racist, you're biased." Blah, blah, blah. No, it's been all of that had nothing to do with racism. It had nothing to do with bias. It had to do with look at what ended up happening. Because they discredited the FBI, because they discredited Hoover, who did we end up getting in? Brennan, who was tied to the Communist Party, head of CIA. Comey, head of FBI, also tied to the Communist Party. That's what ended up happening. So Hoover's fears about communism was actually warranted, and he was protecting this country. And there were Republicans that had issue with this whole church committee. Because they're like, wait, they do protect us. They're not looking to go after, they do now. Now it's like they're the communists running the FBI. So of course they go after normal citizens. But before MLK, before JFK, before all that bullshit and a bunch of progressives getting in, well, they were actually trying to protect us from communists overthrowing us. And communists, they come in slowly, little increments at a time. That's how we got here. So J. Edgar Hoover knew what he was talking about, and he was doing the right thing. I'm sorry that the King family doesn't like that, but I don't know why have people in your organization that have ties to communism then? So again, no, they all cared more about bringing African students here than they did about the black community, both JFK and MLK. So That's the extent of that, why no one will talk about those files.